And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Real Estate. I'm Ray. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, Ray.
And that is Dan. Now, after so many episodes,
I still,
royally messed it up.
I still can't
It's
do
okay.
it.
I'm stop motiony today again, as you guys can tell. That's because I'm running this whole show on an old laptop on a wireless connection. So we'll see how it goes. I've got a new MacBook. It's a M1 Max, and I'm so excited. It's coming, and hopefully that will help speed up a little bit of our connection. But this is an audio-based show, so you'll be able to hear us. We're also broadcasting live on Clubhouse right now in the Real Estate Networking Club. So if you are in Clubhouse listening to us, be sure that you follow the club. That way you get the notifications of rooms like this. And also the people that are up here that are moderators, those are people that have been contributing to our show or been a part of the show. And they're all great people that I would say to follow too. If you're watching us on YouTube, or Facebook, you can actually comment on the show, and then we can display your comment and talk about you or your comment. If you're watching on the replay, go down into the description, and you'll see all the titles of everything we're going to cover, and you will see a timestamp. You can click that timestamp and zoom right to that part in the show, so that you can hear about maybe you came to the show to hear about all the upheavals in executive level leadership that are changing companies, and you just wanted to hear that. Then you could. Now, of course, if you're watching it live, that's not in there because that would be zooming into the future, which would be a cool trick, but not one we can do.
But we can't do that yet. Although Ray has recently upgraded his setup, which you're going to learn very shortly, but we still can't do that one. So if you hate all this banter, because I'm about to banter a lot today. So if you hate it, you're going to have to wait to watch the replay and then just skip through.
Yeah, that's right. No, we have upgraded our setup. I should say, if you're watching live, oh, what's up, Andy? He's joining us in the Clubhouse. If you're watching live right now on YouTube or Facebook, watch this trick. I've got a trick. You ready? So we normally do the chops, and before each chop, we have a little splash screen that comes up, and our editor has to install that manually, and it takes time to do all that stuff. But now check this out. Yeah, we have splash screens for all of our chops.
And it mutes our mics when it does that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really wild. So everyone in Clubhouse, just all they heard was a guitar lick. But I do want to talk about this for a second because we actually put so much thought into the sound design of this thing. If you recognize, let me play the sound one more time. I just want you to listen to the sound and see if you can recognize some of what's here. You ready? Here's a different one. Okay. So obviously, one of the things you're hearing is the guitar lick, but do you know where the guitar licks are from?
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. So we took a lot of the guitar riffs from Bill and Ted's, and we just have that little bit of audio. Eric Daniel says, "Oh, snap! I know, right? We're getting fancy." So there's two other pieces of audio. One is 4 obvious. 4 years in, finally. There's two other pieces of audio, and one of them is pretty obvious. It's more like a radio effect, right? So you hear the radio interference, but there's one more sound, and I want to see if somebody can pick up on this sound because it was important to us to include this sound in the effect. I just want to hear. So I'm going to play one more of them and see if you can hear it. Did you hear it? Did you hear that? One more. So again, with the radio sound, but there's something that happens right at the beginning. I'll give you a hint. It's right at the beginning. Did you hear it?
Viewers.
For the viewers, yeah. So it's a bottle pop. We were like, what's the sound effect that really kind of like can transition to the next part? That's like and we were like, with the bottle top. So that's part of the show now. So there you go. Those are the three sounds.
Beer for you.
Cracking a cold one. The three sounds that make up our splash screens, and of course you see the chops, which we have this little logo. Oh, I should put the logo in the top right. I keep forgetting to do this part. We have this little logo, the Bearded Men of Real Estate, and what we did for the chops is we took a line out of the middle. If you're an audio listener, and so we basically made our beards look like chops because. Part of the show is cut up.
Yeah, I had to recreate beards into chops.
Yeah,
and it was there you go. Hey, look, there's our logo.
So yeah, I know. I forgot I had that up there. So now we have it back. Yeah, so we're upgraded 4 years later. And this is
Dude.
big time.
So this
And
is day one of the show right now. This is the first episode of This Week in
That's right. Woo! Yeah, baby.
I can't wait. I cannot wait until Ray, you ready? That same sound. Be ready, right?
Yeah.
The headline reads, unfortunately, we lose, Ed Cisnarvik to cancer in 2022.
Oh, wait, not that one. You were saying that one. Sorry. That's the reality of what happens, though, because you have all these sounds loaded up and you have to remember like which one's which. They actually have this little thing on the Roadcaster that you can put on there so you can remember. But a lot of times you're doing it like from feel because I don't want to look over here all the time. So instead of doing the which would probably not be an appropriate sound for somebody passing away either. Yeah, doing the celebration sound probably wasn't good either. Anyway, so thank you guys for joining us. We've got a lot of news to cover today. We're going to be talking about a record low number of consumers saying that now is a good time to buy. So I want to hear from real estate professionals around the country. Is now a good time to buy? And if your buyer is saying it's not, what are you going to tell them? So I want the reality of it. And someone, I'm not going to say who, but somebody posted on social media, if you're right now saying now is a good time to buy, you're being disingenuous to the consumer. But are you really? Like, isn't this a perspective thing? Is it a good time or is it not a good time? And then 75% of home buyers acknowledge some regrets. So we're going to talk about where the rag rats came from. Housing wealth is setting new records. Buyer demand for mortgages drop. And then we're going to talk about some flipping around in the executive world. So KW gains an executive. Interesting. Yes. KW gains an executive. And then EXP gains an executive. And we will talk about where they came from and what's happening. Also, there's something going on in the lending industry. We've been seeing whispers of these stories kind of happening around the country. We're bringing back we have some more information about the Better CEO that we've talked about, who laid off 900 employees via Zoom and then lambasted them, saying that these people were only working 2 hours a day. So now he was let go and now reinstated. And now it seems like investors in the company are claiming that he's misappropriating funds or misused funds. So I'll give you like a little snippet headline of that. We're going to move on to two other mortgage companies that have also been laying people off. And I want to hear from mortgagers, lenders around the country. What are you seeing in your companies? Is this just something wrong with these companies, or is there something happening in the lending industry that is maybe is there some technology or artificial intelligence that's starting to replace some of the underwriters or some of the people that were working at these companies? So we want to know more and hear from you guys about that. And so we'll cover those news stories and hopefully we'll get some feedback from y'all. But so that's what we have on the docket for today. But Dan, before we jump into these things, would you tell people, especially Matt LaMarche, what this show is actually all about?
I literally only do this to let Matt LaMarche know what the show is about. And still, I can't say his name the right way. I just can't. It's just been changed to Matt LaMarche. But anyway, when I don't know, it's been a long time. Remember though, we've been doing the show for 4 years, but this is the first episode with all the stuff we've kind of talked about for the 4 years of doing the show. That's right. But when when Ray and I met here on the interwebs eons ago, before Al Gore invented pants. And then he invented pants, and then he invented the internet. We met even before that somehow, magically. I had an idea for a show called The Bearded Men of Real Estate, which is now This Week in Real Estate, hosted by The Bearded Men of Real Estate.
That's right.
And when I met Ray, I noticed something very interesting about him.
What's that, Dan?
He's never been skydiving. Not once.
I haven't. I will never go. I'll never do it. There are certain things that that the risk to reward is too high.
No, it's too high. I agree. I'm with you.
And I'm not for doing something that I don't have a lot of control over. And if you've ever seen me in person, I'm deceptively heavy. I mean, I look like a big guy. I'm a big guy, but I weigh a lot more than I look. And
it's like that thing. It's like that thing. Like when you think about a pound of feathers and a pound of lead, you're like, no, the lead's heavier. No, they're both a pound. But when you look at Ray, you're like, no, he's a big guy. And then you try to pick Ray up. Oh, you can't.
Yeah. No, I'm super heavy, like World Wrestler Federation heavy. Melissa Mara, she was like, oh, hey guys. And she said, I don't want to do that either. Julie Moon, she agrees with me.
So there's certain Clubhouse feedback on this. Who would skydive? Anyone?
Is there anyone up here? I know William Tong has skydive, but he's not joining us today. I don't think.
Skydiving, I think.
Matt LaMarche, did you skydiving?
Have you skydiving?
He's unmuted, but I don't hear him.
Skydiving.
Oh, now I can hear you, buddy.
That's because he's skydiving.
Matt, you're like blinking on and off. I can hear everyone else but Matt. So well.
You're doing that on purpose, Ray.
You might have to rejoin the show. Just every time I see him unmute, I turn it down. No, he's blinking, but I don't know what he's saying. So Julie Moon said my husband did skydive once. I'm just saying. Julie Moon says no. I'm saying I'm deceptively heavier than I'll be. So I'm not going to do anything that weight is an issue, and I have to trust someone else to do the calculation. So no bungee jumping for me, no skydiving for me.
And also,
I didn't feel like they would be like, huh?
You didn't pack that chute.
No, I didn't pack the chute, and I don't know who made the chute. I don't know if it can hold my weight. I don't know if the bungee cord was like, oh wait, sorry, we gave you the one for the 150-pound guy, not the 300-pound guy.
Right.
So no, that's out of my control, and I can't do anything once I'm falling in the air to save myself, except like aim for the slant of a hill. But that's not going to happen.
That's what I think. I would think aim for some water, but you're just going to slap really hard. It's going to suck. So side of the hill it is. So I can try to slide it out, I guess.
Slide it out. That's all you can do. So no, I've never skydiven, and I won't.
Same. I actually agree with you. But obviously, I noticed that he's a beautifully bearded man. But what I also noticed is he loves giving value up front to not only his clients, but just to humans in general. So the show's about being more as an agent, but also being more as a human.
That's right. And one of the ways we believe in being more is to know what in the world is going on. Because if you know what is going on, then you can help your clients make a wiser decision and maybe save some money.
Dude, I just had this conversation at a listing appointment yesterday about, and like 18 different articles come to mind over the last 3 weeks that we've covered, or I just saw while doing research for the show or whatever. But, he starts, and it's just amazing when you have these things in your head and they bring something up and you're like, okay, well, actually, you can be the actually guy. Actually, I was just reading an article and they're like, oh, really? Yeah.
So, it never fails that some of the stuff that we talk about on the news is what I'll end up talking about with my clients. So,
but don't read. Just watch our show every week.
Yeah, just watch the show. You guys don't have to do all the research. That's why we have the show.
We got you covered. Don't worry about it.
All right, Dan, you ready to get into this thing?
Yeah, but.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, we're still doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were going to do another thing.
No, that's it.
All right, sorry.
So here's the problem. I found all of these sounds, beautiful sounds. I found transitions, all kinds of stuff. You know what sound is missing that I can't find? So if a viewer, listener is out there that wants to contribute, find the Wayne's World transition sound effect, because I found all these Wayne's World soundboards, which were hilarious, but none of them had that transition sound effect. So, oh well.
So maybe we'll get the Scooby-Doo ending up for us right now.
We need to do the Scooby-Doo ending. If you watch Wayne's World, you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
All right. So let me share my screen here, and we'll get into this first article. Oh, and we have so many pop-ups right now. No, continue without supporting. Sorry. I mean, it's pop-up city today. I don't know if they're just running out of money or what.
Hold on.
See, look, again, pop-up.
Wait.
Yeah.
So, Ray, I found it.
No, it's not downloadable. Trust me.
It's not downloadable, and it's not just like that audio.
Correct. I found it on YouTube, but it's not downloadable. It's not that audio. Keep searching.
Yeah, and it's a great one because it's got the wave and everything. But
no. All right. So first article. Speaking of the wave, a record low number of consumers say now is a good time. Oh, a record. So this is kind of a confusing headline. A record low number of consumers say now is a good time to buy. So a record high number are saying it's not a good time to buy. Right. So this article comes to us from CNBC. Consumers are feeling far more negative about the housing market this winter as home prices continue to rise and mortgage rates move higher as well. A monthly survey from Fannie Mae showed that home price sentiment in January fell to its lowest level since May of 2020. at the start of the pandy. Weaker affordability is clearly the problem. On the flip side, 69% said now's a great time to sell. Actually, it's a good time. They could have made that the headline. 69% of Americans say now is a great time to sell.
That's exactly what I thought. But instead, they workshopped the headlines. They workshopped. Hey, they ran it by their many little workshops. Should we write a record low number of consumers say now is a good time to buy a home, or a record high number say it's not a good time to buy? And then the little dude in the back was like, wait, what about the 69% of sellers saying, shut up, Ken, shut up. We're not writing that headline, you jerk. Like, what's going on with this?
Home prices are still gaining and are still accelerating. The latest measure showed prices nationally up 18.5% in December, according to CoreLogic. That's up 18.1% annual gain from November.
Most of the show's just going to be me laughing at whatever
sound effects. This is a quote from Frank Nothaft. He's a chief economist at CoreLogic. He said, much of what we've seen in the run-up of home prices over the last year has been the result of a perfect storm of supply and demand pressures. As we move further into 2022, economic factors such as new home building and rise in mortgage rates are in motion to help relieve some of the pressure and steadily temper the rapid home price acceleration seen in 2021. Okay, so Dan, when you have a buyer right now that says, I would love to buy a home, but now is not really a good time to buy, what are you telling them? Are you like, yeah, you're right, prices are super high, now's not a great time? What are you saying to these folks?
I say, I agree with you. Don't buy a house right now. Because I'm afraid of what people are going to tell me when I say I helped a buyer buy a house right now. They're going to cancel me, Ray. They're going to cancel me.
Yeah, you're afraid of the social media pressure that when you put on Instagram, I just helped this person buy, that people are going to say, oh, I can't believe you would advise people right now to buy a home.
Cancel them. So I kind of immediately go to, and the conversation, I believe, has to switch depending on what's going on, and you have to do what's right for the buyer or the seller. But if someone comes to me and says, I want to buy a house, I'm not really going to say, okay, let's help you buy a house. Let's see what it would take to buy a house. Or if you want to sell your house, let's go through and see what you can get for your house right now. But if they say, is now a good time to buy, I would be realistic with them and tell them, by the way, I almost just left quietly from Clubhouse because I'm so handsy when I talk.
So handsy.
When I talk, just when I talk. But I don't, again, Ray, I don't want to get canceled. But I have, I just have a real conversation with them. And yes, the headlines, home prices are up, all that stuff. But I still go back to interest rates, man. Interest rates are still crazy low. What we looked it up back 2017 was the last time we were over 4. 2011 was the last time we were up above 5. If you go back to the early 90s, they were in the 16-17% range. And then I just kind of analyze, like, is it now a good time to buy for you? Can you afford this payment? Will you still have enough left over to save? How much do you already have saved? Will that totally wipe you out? I just have these conversations. And then if they're ready, they're ready.
So I know buying a house is always kind of an individualistic thing, but I have the gut feeling, you could call me Susie Orman or not, but I have the gut feeling that if you're currently in a house, you're basically going to be able to take the equity that you've gained over the last couple of years and then invest it into the one that you buy. So, and if you buy something that's more expensive, whether you stay where you are or you buy something that's higher, the percent basic of appreciation is going to be about the same. So let's say appreciation slows down, Dan, and you only have like a 3 to 6% appreciation. All right.
Wait, appreciation, which is good,
appreciation,
right?
Slows down. Yeah, it's been 18% in the last year.
Right? But let's say it slows down. So
it's still going up.
Is happening slower.
Yeah, home price gain slow. So appreciation of the asset is slowing down, and you still gain 3 to 6%. If you were to save your money and try to catch up and say, well, I was just actually on a live this morning talking with Real Estate Kate about this. If you're like, I want to buy a house right now that's in the 280 range, but I can't really afford it. Well, should you wait and save your money for a couple of years and then try to afford it? Probably not, because that house that you're looking at now in the 250s is going to be worth, 270, 280 in a couple of years. So now that you can finally afford one in the 270s and 280s, the one that you're going to be buying is the same one that you see today at 250. So because part of the reason why home prices are going to continue to escalate is inflation. Historically, as inflation increases, which we are having inflation right now,
it's the highest in 40 years.
As inflation increases, so do home prices. So, Matt LaMarche does skydive. He's got a picture of him skydiving with someone on his back. So there you go. I think they call that a tandem. Anyway.
Well, I think that's how they make you do it. Like, they don't just let you jump out of the plane.
Oh, well, I wouldn't know because I'm not going to do it.
Right. Yeah.
So speaking of letting people jump out of a plane, I would let my buyers buy in this market, and not only let them buy, I would encourage them to buy, because I believe that if you stay out of a market, then your money is not in a market that is increasing. So it's not like you could just save money. You actually have to invest that money in order to catch up with both inflation and also the increase in home prices, and also the increase in interest rates, because interest rates are going to be going up. That's actually breaking news. We just, the Fed did just announce that they're going to target another interest rate increase. So interest rates are going to go up. So if you are pre-approved for a home that's 250 right now, but you don't increase your income in the next couple of years, and you don't pay down your debt in the next couple of years, then 2 or 3 years down the road, you may only be pre-approved for a $240,000 home because interest rates are higher. Well, so not only are prices going up and inflation's going up, so the cost of money is going to go up. So what you're approved for is actually going to go down. So
well, you always hear this thing about, well, my friend bought 5 years ago, and now, he bought when it was a great time. Okay, well, my dad bought 45 years ago, 40 something years ago, and it was there's no way he could have ever imagined that his house would, bought it for 50 grand and now it's worth 1.5 million. You can't really imagine that. You just got to kind of get in and then, start building your equity, just like Ray's saying, invest your money somewhere, building your equity. And then either you stay for 3 to 5 years, or what's the average now? 3 to 6 or something like that.
Well, before the pandemic, it was starting to be around 5 years. So prior, back in 2006 and 7, it was every 2 to 3 years people were selling. It started to get long, about 7 years, and then started to retract a little bit down to 5 years right before the pandemic. So I don't really know what it is right now.
It was much higher when we started the show. It was pushing towards that 7 to 10 years. But, so just get in. If the right time is to buy for you, let's run all the numbers, and it's the right time. And then I'll help you buy a house, But so I would say absolutely right now is a great time to buy. Don't cancel.
Yeah. Andy Rose was chiming in. What's up, Andy? You there? No. Oh, I guess he just sent me. I thought, Andy, were you chiming in?
Yeah, I was going to say the last number I heard here recently was 13 years.
13 years. That doesn't seem like the average. 13 years? We'll have to search this.
I'll have to see if I can find it.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna turn on my focus, and also, if I lose Clubhouse, I'll come right back. Hang on. Play mode. Okay. I should still be on Clubhouse. I turned it on airplane mode this time. I just remembered to do that. All right. So good information. Julie Moon says, it depends on the size of their assets. Julie says, I asked them if they don't like appreciating assets.
Dude, numbers are all over the place, man.
Someone punches them in the face before they write the headlines. Oh, yeah. They're just being negative.
That's why they're mad about that. That's why they're right.
That's why they're mad.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we are seeing is that people are being encouraged to buy. Like, for my clients, I'm encouraging them to purchase right now. I'm looking for stuff to purchase right now so I can ride the wave up. But we are seeing some buyers experience buyer's remorse. 75% of home buyers acknowledge some regret
Ray,
over the recent home buy.
If you're watching... If you're watching, you see the title picture, you see it. But Ray, can you just talk through that? Because this got me.
The title picture. So the title picture of the article shows a girl, millennial-ish of age, with her head up against the wall, with her body kind of leaning towards the wall and her head up against the wall, like she's banging her head against the wall, that she purchased a home. So 3/4 of recent home buyers expressed regrets about their new homes, according to a new survey by Zillow released Tuesday. Whopping 75% of those who purchased a home in the past 2 years had regrets about at least one aspect of their new home, according to the survey.
Regrets.
Yeah. The homebuyer regret is likely driven by the frenzy of last year's housing market, according to Zillow, with homebuyers feeling pressured to snatch up one of the few houses available. The pandy-driven frenzy in the for-sale market added challenges for buyers, especially for those purchasing first time. Zillow population scientist Manny Garcia said.
What? Wait, what?
A population scientist. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
How are we not at 100% employment right now with jobs like population scientist? You know what I'm saying?
If you can be a population scientist, what can't you be over here?
Jeez, man. Talk about the land of opportunity. What do you do? Well, I'm a population scientist.
Yeah. Why didn't they call it a popologist? Because that's what I would want to be called.
I study popology.
Yeah. What are you? I'm a popologist.
Okay, that was already taken by soda experts.
Yeah. Okay. Just call me a hippopotamus. All right. Sorry.
Hippopologist. No, that's taken.
Mike Elizabeth Riddell said, are we sure that Zillow didn't just poll themselves? Yeah. So Zillow actually has a pretty good polling group. That's one of the things I think they do okay on, is that they're actually getting responses. They get more responses than most real estate agents get from their clients. So Zillow found that most common regrets for home buyers had were for buying a home that was too small. Okay, wait a minute. Hang on just a second. All of these people with these huge regrets about buying a house. What is the most common regret? We bought one that's too small. We should have spent more and bought a bigger home. 31% of respondents expressing this.
I mean, so I was able to buy a 2,500 square foot home. I wish it was 3,500 though. Well, yeah. I mean,
some say a house that was had more maintenance than they bargained for. It's an interesting study. It's something that you guys should be aware of. But if your clients that purchased a home 2 years ago, right now, have a lot of regret for purchasing a home, you should be the one to help deliver them from that regret. Let's help you sell, because the market is so short on supply. You've had 2 years of like 18, 20% increases in home prices. So let's go.
Well, and
Julie Moon said it would be interesting if people were always dissatisfied.
Yeah, it's only 75%. It's not all of them. But if you go read through that article, and again, you guys don't have to read the articles. We will do it every week for you. It does say that even before the Rona, that there was always something that, because I don't know, Ray, how many times, like if people have, so when I first started in the business, I used to sit down and I always do a buyer's consult still, but I used to say, all right, what are your 5 top must-haves? And now outside of the must-haves, what are those 5, like, if I could have? So I had 10 things basically, and I still do it, but it's just through conversation. I don't literally sit down and take a list anymore, but I had 10 things, and then I would help them, hey, okay, so if I can get you these all must-haves, then all those other ones are just bonus, right? Like, or if I can get them 7 out of the 10 things they want, that's amazing. But pretty much everyone's going to have like the laundry's in the garage. I didn't really want that, but at least at least the garage is connected to the house. I don't have to walk through the snow to get to the, you know what I mean? Like there, even before this, there was, but that 75% is pretty staggering.
We had a good question from Julie Moon. She says, what's the survey from 2018? Right. So it just so happens that we had a show back in 2018 called The Bearded Men of Real Estate, and we actually covered this on the show. So I'm gonna let me bring it up. You're not gonna believe this, Daniel. Almost 70% of millennials regret buying their homes.
So can we just end the show on that? That was perfect.
So this is a 5% difference specifically for the targeted group millennials. Okay. So granted, I don't know where the Zillow, they didn't break them down by age, but we do see that in 2018, the same survey was done pre-pandy, pre-housing frenzy. This is as the housing market was starting to increase and a lot of people were talking about multiple offers in big cities, and we were starting to see the trickle down effect of people having multiple offers in our small cities, millennials were still regretting purchasing a home at the rate of 70%. So is, a lot of what we talk about is kind of recycled news and such. Matt LaMarche, he also posted one up here.
Just how
Economists outlook, how long do homeowners stay in their homes? Did you find that? What was the answer?
If you scroll up, now I didn't bring it up because there's a typo in it, but
according
it
to
says
NAR, 13 years.
13 years, which
it just doesn't seem, based on my own clients, it doesn't seem accurate. That's hard to fathom. I don't understand it.
I'm going to guess that person that wants to come up as a speaker on Clubhouse isn't a real estate agent.
Oh, are they not? I don't see them anymore. They must have moved
out.
What's up, Steph?
Yeah, so I don't, that 13 years seems pretty high, man. That means seems pretty like Snoop Dogg high.
All right. So speaking of high, Snoop Dogg's not the only thing that's going higher. So are interest rates. Yes. And home buyer demand for mortgages drops 10% as higher interest rates price some people out. So if you recall, like a couple of weeks ago, there was a rush, actually exactly 1 week ago, there was a rush for people to buy and the number of applications was up. So applications to refinance a loan fell 7% this week. Mortgage applications to purchase a home dropped 10% last week compared to the previous week and were 12% lower over a year ago. But it almost like people that rushed in, now you don't have the benefit of that rush. So it seems like it's 10% lower, but it's maybe more normalized. Mortgage rates have been rising for the start of the year, but buyers first seem unfazed, some even rushing to get it before the rates move higher. All right, well, okay, we just said that. Mortgage applications to purchase a home dropped 10% last week compared with the previous week. They were 12% lower year over year. The average loan size hit another record, $446,000. Let's go to a quote by Danielle Hale. She's Realtor.com's chief economist. She said, we're forecasting a whirlwind year ahead for buyers. And if January housing trends are any indication, 2022 competition is already heating up. Homes sold at a record fast January pace, suggesting that buyers are more active than usual for this time of year. Mortgage rates followed the U.S. 10-year yields. We talked about that at the Elite Retreat, but this is a quote from Joel Kahn.
There it is.
He's MBA's Associate Vice President of Economic and Industry Forecasting. And he says mortgage rates followed the U.S. 10-year yield and other sovereign bonds as Federal Reserve and another key global central banks responded to growing inflationary pressures and signaled that they will start to remove accommodative policies.
I don't understand anything he just said.
No longer accommodating. I understand. So I guess loans are getting harder to get, right?
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Is that what that means?
Okay. Money's going to become more expensive. We know that, right?
Ray, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Are you supposed to be playing the transitions for Matt?
Oh, totally forgot about that. There's a lot. There's a lot to do.
I know. I keep telling Ray, like, let me know because I'll do stuff.
I gotta hit these. Let me see if this works. No, I gotta actually hit the button. I was trying to keyboard shortcut. It wasn't working.
He's literally the man behind the curtain and in front of the curtain.
Well, now, all right. We just got to restart the show.
Okay, sorry. So 33 minutes. Let's start over.
Yeah, but our transitions were super smooth today. I do have to say that. He's just gonna have to. He's got to insert a couple of them.
I'll make the other ones harder, Matt.
Right.
Okay, got you.
All right. So, sorry, Matt. Now I have to copy and paste like multiple things. All right. Okay. So the next article here. So housing wealth is setting new records for both owners and sellers.
Wait.
So this is after all the buyer's remorse articles. This is after people are running from the market and after we are telling people to purchase a home.
Wait, and home price gains are slowing. Wait, what?
Home price gains are slowing, but housing wealth is setting new records for both owners and sellers. The profit on a typical home sale last year was just over $94,000, an increase of 45% from the profit in 2020 and 71% from pre-pandemic profits. It's an increase of 71% from pre-pandemic profits. About 42% of homeowners were considered equity rich at the end of last year.
Dude.
So the stunning jump in home values over the course of COVID-19 pandy has given U.S. homeowners record amounts of housing wealth. What they choose to do with it could have impacts on the broader economy. Annual home price gains averaged 15% in 2021 and 6% in 2020, according to CoreLogic. I thought we just read an article that said it was 18% higher. I guess that was only for one. That was not the average. That was that 1 month.
You remember it went down. It was 18.5, and then it went down to 18.1.
Yeah, tanked. Bidding wars are now the norm. Desperate home buyers competing with investors, wanting to cash in on the hot market. Upward trend is continuing despite the winter, historically the slowest season for housing.
So I literally shared this because this article has some really good stuff in it for sellers. So I literally shared this. We have a Slack channel for our team. I literally copied and pasted it from the article and shared it in. And so this would be good for you guys to post either in your stories or I guess you could put it and make a meme out of it or whatever. But I like it in the stories because people kind of see it and then it goes away and then you can post more info the next day. And it doesn't get monotonous in your regular feed, where someone looks at your pictures and they just see a bunch of info. It gets kind of boring. But anyway,
do those green screen reels with this article behind you.
And put it behind you. But and Ray either will get to it or won't. But it says the amount of tappable equity, which means equity above the 20% usually required by lenders to back a mortgage, that grew by 2.6 trillion last year. That grew, didn't go to 2.6 trillion, grew 2.6 trillion to a record total of. Oh my! Give me any sound effect, Ray. Ready? Or wait. After I say the number, give me the one. It grew to a record total of 9.9 trillion.
$9.9 trillion in equity.
And then listen to this one. That is a 35% jump in a single year. So the 18%, the 15%, whatever, that's a 35% jump in a single year. The average homeowner now has $185,000 in tappable equity.
Wow.
Average
tappable equity. This is why everybody's getting the HELOC. Everybody's getting the HELOC mailers. If you've not got one of those mailers, you will. You should take out a home equity line of credit on your house and you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah. So I got a seller that purchased, I was calling around and she purchased right at the beginning of the Rona. And then, it was the year before. What?
Jim Mabry said, I'd tap that.
It's that tappable equity's up. And she bought before and then she went through forbearance and kind of stuck with that. By the way, have you been foreburned?
Foreburned.
Right.
Oh wait,
that's fine. No, leave it. That's fine. Anyway, and she went through that, and so she's, she had kind of thought about selling, but she has to refi out of it. And the first step is she has to make 3 consecutive payments, then she can refi out of it. And I told her, I said, dude, as you sit right now, it was something crazy. Like she's up to 190 grand in equity or something in less than 2 years. And she's all, wait, really? Like, so it kind of triggered like, well, I might sell it and I'll just, move whatever out of state or out of the city. But she has a beautiful home though. I was like, I don't know. That's a pretty cool house. I don't know if you want to sell that, but it's just interesting in 2 years. And then, geez, and the average homeowner, 185,000. That's crazy to me. So I thought I'd share that with you guys from this article. And if you need it, where's this article from, Ray?
CNBC.
So go find it, grab that text, put it out there, because, most of us are looking for sellers and we want to control the market. Right. So get that stuff out there. It's really good. And then,
I'll drop it in the comments for everybody. So
and then if
it's one that you
want to share, anyone's looking for an updated value on their house, try to get those in and try to set some appointments.
Mm-hmm. A good question is, how much equity did you gain? Right. The profit on a typical sale last year was $94,000, increase in 45%. 42% of homeowners were equity rich at the end of last year. How much equity did your home gain? Call me, maybe. Call me. All right. So I like that. I want to hear, so we're about to switch gears and talk about some changes in the industry, but we've got a lot of great people on Clubhouse. So I'd love to take some comments from you guys in what you're seeing from your sellers. What are you seeing overall? Do you have buyers with buyer's remorse that are able to cash out right now? We talked a lot about the economy and the increase in rates. And I really want to hear what you're telling buyers who are saying right now, I don't know if now's a good time to buy. So chime in if you're in Clubhouse. Just flash your mic. Matt, I saw you flash. What's up, man?
Yeah, can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, man, I can hear you great.
Okay, cool. So about skydiving, right? No, just kidding.
Yeah.
So, wait.
Taking the plunge.
Matt, before you go, can we address your face? I know you're falling at 150 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the rate of fall?
Terminal velocity.
But who's counting? Yeah.
What is it?
I didn't know this.
200, but no one's counting.
Yeah, it's terminal velocity. But anyway, he looks like what's that firefighter character that Jim Carrey used to play?
Oh, yes.
Let me tell you something.
That's amazing.
Anyway, love you, buddy. I'm just kidding. Love you.
Did you just do to him what Michael Scott does to Toby? Like right as Matt comes on, you're like, okay, Matt, before you go.
Yeah. Well, what Michael does, the best one ever, not to take a tangent, but the best one ever, he's like, oh, hey, Toby, don't, shut the door on your way out.
Your door on the way out.
Right as he walks in, he's like, hey, Toby, can you close the door on your way out?
That's exactly what you just did to Matt. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining the show, man. We appreciate it. All right, who's next?
Yeah, good talk.
No, all right. So really, Matt, what are you telling your buyers who are coming to you right now saying, I don't really think now is a good time to buy, Matt? What are you telling them?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, one of my investors and I were talking about this yesterday because they're still very, very active in their search, and they purchased about this time last year, actually. And I had another investor, same price point, same area, that was worried about the quickly rising rates and prices and values and stuff in that area. And so they were looking in the same area. One of them bought, the other one didn't. The one that bought, we looked yesterday. They got about $75,000 in equity, and this is only about a $350,000 house.
Wow!
So I take that story back to the other investor, and I'm like, this is what you kind of missed out on, and this is most likely, based on all the indicators we see here in Atlanta, at least, this is probably going to happen again. But even if we're half wrong, let's say you only made 10%.
Yeah.
in the next year, like that's a big deal.
Right.
So yeah. I like you, Ray. I'm still encouraging my folks to buy.
Good. It's a coin sound effect. It makes sense because we're talking about money. Yeah, that's a good point, Matt, to actually take a real story like that and then show an investor and say, hey, here's what you could have gained. Here's what, and what if you were only half right? Then you still would have gained just on the purchase.
Yeah, not only that, but even just for a normal consumer, right, that's going to live in that home, like this is who you're competing against, right, as an investor. Yeah. So if you as a primary, home owner now are looking at a $75,000 increase in a year, I mean, that's a big deal. And so if you think that this is going to continue for the next year, it's still a great time.
Yeah, it's still a great time. And if you're not in the market, if your money is not in housing, then it's not going to keep up with housing unless you find some really great investments.
Like Bitcoin.
And so ask them about their 401ks and Roth IRAs right now.
Right. And then you go to a bank. See if you can go to a bank and take out a loan to invest into the stock market, and then watch your money go up. See if that works. But that's basically what you could do. All right. The good point, Matt. Thanks for joining the show. Skydiver, Porsche lover, Matt.
Skydiver Bill.
Matt likes speed. He likes speed. Not the drive. Well,
wait, what, dude? What are you doing? Don't out him on the show.
Yeah, to all my clients out there, can we draw a definitive line for all my clients out there, please?
Yes. Yeah, there's the line. That's good. All right. So anyone else want to chime in? What's happening? What are you telling your buyers right now? Do you have any real life examples? Jen, she said that she would tell her clients, I'd tap that. Anyone else? All right, Paul T. I see, man.
I'll give you a real life example. So in this time, people trying to get in, and most of the clients I'm dealing with are trying to get in, right? I mean, obviously, I'm on the bank end, so they're coming at me. They want money to buy their house, and I recently just got a save this deal option for a client who had really a terrible credit situation, and we're looking at the Phoenix, Arizona market and how we can help her with this purchase that she had been pre-approved for. By the way, if you're getting a pre-approval, make sure that the person doing the pre-approval actually runs your credit. They gave her a pre-approval with a assumption that she had a 780 credit score and she was at 614. So
wow,
a little challenging. But make sure you get that done before you get your pre-approval letter. However, so come to me to save the deal. So we do everything we can to get this to run through underwriting, and can't manually underwrite this specific loan. And so give her an option and say, okay, so look at this. You can't go FHA on this property because of the time that it has been owned by the seller is not long enough to meet the requirements. So we do have an option. You could actually do a residential hard money loan. It's 9%. Okay, it's going to be 9%, but in 6 months we can finance you we can get you into an FHA loan, or we can get you into a conforming loan if we get your credit up and get some things cleaned up. But it's going to cost you basically in payment monthly $5,000 a month for 6 months. And this person was like, oh my God, that's insane. I can't do that. There's no way I can do this. And it's like, now let's look at what that means. What that means is, yes, it's going to cost you between now and then $3,000 extra to get this loan.
Oh, I guess.
Get this house that you want. But this house is appreciating at $3,000 a month.
So you
market,
you said 5,000 a month, but you meant 500 a month, right?
Yeah, 500.
Okay. It's going to cost 500 a month for 6 months, so $3,000 totally. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Higher in payment than what it would be, right? But so my question to you is: are you willing to make a $3,000 investment to get a $21,000 return?
Yeah. If
it's appreciating at $3,000 a month, so looking at this right now and advising our clients, the cost of waiting is staggering. Yeah. The cost of waiting right now is staggering.
It's really interesting.
That's my real life example.
I agree, Paul. There's a lot of markets, and I said this on the live that I did this morning with Real Estate K2, which I should go check that out. But there's a lot of markets that I wouldn't advise buyers to do that. I'd say, well, yeah, no, be patient. It's a buyer's market. You're still going to get a great deal moving forward. Rates are going to stay pretty low. And I wouldn't say, hey, rush out to buy. But right now, I'm really trying to get everyone I can off the fence to purchase, because what I'm seeing in the market and with what is coming, the big question I get asked a lot, and that's one of the questions that Kate asked was, is the market going to crash? And I'd love to hear some of you take on that question.
Yes,
when a buyer says, well, maybe, okay, so what if I do buy? What if I am in a house and the market crashes? What would cause the market to crash in this scenario? I can't. I've been trying to think of some market crashes. And,
we've been trying to think about it
Orman.
for a year and a half since Orman posted about it, and there hasn't been a scenario yet. And we've gone through job losses, forbearance, 18 rounds of the Rona.
So on the next game show question I've got for Susie Orman, will the market crash? And she says, yes. Wrong. Sorry, that's bad. There's a whole setup about that one. So
the whole show, 48 minutes of the show has led up to that moment. That's the entire reason we did the show today.
Me being able to buzz Susie Orman.
Yeah. Good times.
Okay, well, we can move on. I just, whenever someone asks me the question, will the market crash? I kind of say what Dan does. Yeah, probably. But in reality, the crash is going to be in the media, and the media is going to say the market's crashing, the market's crashing. What's actually going to be happening is that the market's going to turn from a seller's market to a buyer's market. And when that happens to sellers that are trying to sell their house, it's going to feel like a crash, though they're still going to have the benefit of all these gains that they had up until that point. Home price gains will finally just slow to a point where, it just is barely keeping up with inflation, and they're not going to see any huge price gains once supply increases and buyers start to back out of the market, which I think is going to take 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, I think we're going to be in the seller's market for a long time. So
yeah, like think about our predictions from our annual prediction show, which was early in December last year. It was so tough to predict what's going to happen in 1 year, because a lot of these things are, I think it's going to take 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. You know, like I keep talking about the silver wave that's going to come and happen, but that's a very long-term thing. It's tough to predict these things year over year, but we will still review our predictions at the end of the year to see if we were right or wrong. And right now,
I'm not looking so hot.
I can predict that Ray's going to be pretty wrong about one of them.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see.
But hey, speaking of wrong, what would happen if a president from one company went to another?
That's a great question, Dan.
That's the best one ever. Matt's going to be stoked on that.
Keller Williams.
I just ruined it by talking about it.
That's all right. He'll have to back up a little bit. Keller Williams names all right, this is really hard to read. Keller Williams names ex-eXp president Stacey Onnen to executive team. So this news broke, and all my friends from Keller Williams were like, "Oh, ha 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 ha," and all the XP people were like, "Oh, that's okay. I didn't like her anyway." Stacey Onnen, who recently served as president of VXP Realty, and before that, operations manager of Realty One Group, has been brought into the Keller Williams fold as a member of the executive leadership team. This comes on the heels of an announcement yesterday from Greg Robertson, a vendor of Vendor Alley, that notes that there's a rumor that there's a big leadership shift coming to EXP. So in a statement, KWX CEO Carl Liebert said, renowned for the ability to operational scale brokerage through period of rapid growth, Stacey stands apart as a strong leader in our industry, and we're proud she's chosen to bring her extensive knowledge and skills to KW. We don't have do we have a comment from Stacey on this? I don't think so.
No,
I don't see anything from her or Stacey's mom.
No, and there is the Inman one, but the Inman one has mostly the same stuff, but the Inman one talks a little bit more about the what's his name, the Sanford tweet. And if you want to, can you bring that up and go to the end? Because that kind of leads
drama.
So he tweeted what Ray's
while I'm bringing this up, let me explain while we cover this. Our show is watched by a lot of industry professionals, specifically real estate agents. So you guys listen and watch the show, and it's news within the industry when CEOs change hands, because it could mean a directional change. It could mean absolutely nothing. But the news of them switching is news within our industry. Outside of our industry,
right?
I don't think buyers give a rip who is the CEO of what company.
I would even say, for the most part, do they even care? Like, I'm with Remax, and I mostly mention it to sellers. You know, you've seen the big balloon everywhere. Yeah, we're very visible. Right. That's about to the extent where and they go, "Oh yeah, I know Remax." That's about the extent that I mention it. For the most part, they want to know if the agent is going to do the right job for them. They don't care if unless they're with like Exit Realty, because you don't want to work with those agents.
Ouch.
Sound effect.
We throw shade.
Sound effect.
Oh wait, no, it's the wrong one. So we throw shade just to throw shade. We don't actually mean anything by it.
Just kidding. Funny. I love you guys. I'm just kidding.
All right, so EXP president of operations heads to Keller Williams. Rivalry builds. Let's see the tweet that you're talking about. Here's the one. Here's the one from Stacey. This is what I was looking for.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm excited to be part of Keller Williams, where the culture is second to none. Onnen said in an early morning statement Friday. More so today than ever before, I believe that KW represents the real estate company of the future.
That's
that's
does she really believe that?
Well, so all right.
Or did she just get offered more money?
The most recent thing I can relate this to is when the Notre Dame Kelly. What's the guy's name? Kelly.
Brian Kelly.
Yeah. Notre Dame, world-renowned Notre Dame coach, moves to LSU, says some words to LSU, to their players, like, "Oh, guys, we're going to make this a great thing, blah, 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 blah." One of the players, no, wait, was it that or the guy that moved from Oklahoma? I can't remember. One of them one of the coaches moved, changed company or changed companies, changed universities, and made a speech to their players and tweeted about the speech or something like that. And one of the former players from the previous team commented, "Oh, he said that to us last week." And I feel like when some of these things happen, you know, it's a lot of platitudes and press releases, and you have to wonder if anything is like, what is the change? What is going to happen? So it's just kind of a wait and see, because words don't really mean much in all this stuff.
And we do have to say, like, if you read through these articles, she's done a ton in what she did for EXP. She was there. She was only there a couple of years. I think 2018 she jumped on. But if you look at her career, because she started with Keller Williams, I don't know if she started with Keller Williams back in 2008, but I think that's where her executive job started. But she has a good career and she's built a lot of things. She was co-president, I think, and then she went solo, and she's really good at kind of rapid growth stuff, and that's what she helped EXP grow to where they are now. So she's done a lot of good things. I just always find these quotes funny. They kind of have to say this thing, real estate company of the future. I think they kind of have to say these things.
Yeah, people were getting all up in arms, like, EXP people were like, "Oh, she didn't mean that much to us," all that stuff. That's kind of disingenuous too, because when she was leading your company,
you loved her.
So
right.
You can't really say that either. But all right. So there was a tweet. There was a tweet from Glenn Sanford.
And this was
EXP
2 days
CEO.
before she left.
Yeah. Was it 2 days before? Yeah, I guess so.
It was before she
said,
left.
"It's fun to have a competitor who diminished you in the past try to use a legal system to keep a former team members from joining the team." So at the time, everyone was like, "Oh, this is this Stacey lady is now leaving the team, so he must have been talking about something like that." And everyone was like, "How did Stacey diminish him in the past? And what does all this mean?" Well, hang on, let me bring it up. I'm going to bring it up. I'm glad you asked, Dan, because we found out. Was this today or was it yesterday? When was this?
This article?
No, the aha moment that we found out exactly what this means. Oh, I should do this. Let me do this first. And what we found out was former Keller Williams CEO Mark Willis is poised to jump to eXp Realty amid a legal dispute. So that's probably what Glenn was talking about.
Right.
The recruitment
when is
revelation.
This article from?
It was an 11-page motion filed Monday by eXp World Holdings in a bid to dissolve Keller Williams' temporary restraining order against Willis. It's February 8th, so it was yesterday. Former Keller Williams CEO Mark Willis is poised to join eXp Realty in an undisclosed executive role. Major revelation from an 11-page bombshell counter motion eXp World Holdings filed on Monday to dissolve Keller Williams' temporary restraining order against Willis. Willis helped grow the Texas-based behemoth from a regional firm in 1991 to a worldwide force with more than 112,000 agents at the time of his departure in 2014. And Dan and I were talking about that departure. It seemed like it was much more recent than that. But I think it's because, like, I heard him on Clubhouse and talking in some of the Clubhouse rooms and stuff like that, and actually got to speak with him a couple of times. And I think that's why it felt like it was more recent than that. But yeah, leaving in 2014, how can they keep him from joining eXp? I don't get that part.
Well, it's been so long ago. And when we were talking about the pre-show, it was like, wait, didn't he just leave? And it was like, no, that was Josh's team that left. And, because for a minute there, meaning a year and a half, it was kind of volatile at the top of KWI, right? So
yeah,
it might have been some of that stuff we were thinking about. But then we started talking about, like, if you signed a non-compete, so if he left KW in, whatever, 5 years ago.
2014,
But if it was just 4 or 5 and he signed a non-compete, I will not join a direct competitor, which I don't know how any other real estate company isn't a non-direct or non-direct competitor. I don't know how you would sign that sort of non-compete. But anyway, let's say it lasted for 5 years. This has been 8 years that he left, and he was there for. So this is crazy to me. And they're saying
it's revealed. It's revealed a little bit at the end of the article. Let me fast forward. Let's fast forward to the end of the article. This is kind of, I guess, where you could say where the gripe comes from. Oh, all right, there it is.
Yep.
It said Keller Williams sent Willis and eXp a letter threatening legal action in January after learning Willis's plan to join the rival firm. Keller Williams said Willis's ownership stake and franchise in 2 regions gave him access to more than 150 confidential data reports that he would inevitably share with eXp to cause irreparable damage to KWRI's intellectual property, confidential information, goodwill, and system. So he, although he left in 2014, he still owns, it sounds like 2 franchises in a franchise in 2 regions. So in a franchise and 2 regions. So I guess it's more than one.
But I don't want to say every, but when I was with Keller Williams, none of the owner brokers were with Keller Williams. Like their license was somewhere else. And usually they were commercial and then they owned a brokerage, but they were, because remember with Keller Williams, you have the managing broker and then you have the broker owner. They're different people. The managing broker, they're with KW and they're there to solve problems and do all the brokery stuff. But then the principal owner, I don't know what they call it. Yeah. So the 3 I know of the companies I worked at, they owned other things too. And so,
what you could do is just sell. You could just sell it, right? So you could just sell his interest in it, and then it's dissolved, right? That's what would normally happen.
But he's still going to know stuff from those 23 years he was with the company.
He won't have recent data reports. So on information and belief in the weeks following January 6th, defendant Willis attempted to engage KWI to facilitate the divestiture of his Keller Williams investments. KWRI refused to negotiate in good faith and interfered with prospective purchases of Willis's interest, thus further impeding eXp's right to hire Mr. Willis. That's pretty wild. A source familiar with the matter backed up eXp's claims and told Inman that founder Gary Keller went ballistic when Willis, who'd spent 25 years helping KW rise to the top of the industry, said he wanted to sell his interest in joining eXp.
Oh, the word says right there, he wants to sell his interest in joining eXp. Like,
dude went ballistic.
But is that like, so it's Keller Williams saying, no, he's going to tell him secrets. And then eXp's like, no, he won't. He won't do that. I swear he won't. Like,
I'm not going to use your name because this was a back channel message on Clubhouse, but I feel like you should come up to the stage and say this out loud. But someone said, I feel like these companies are wife swapping.
It's like the show.
Just like the show.
Yeah. And if you saw the thumbnail, you'll understand our thumbnail now, where we're like, wait, who he started
switching teams. Mm-hmm. Well, and it also kind of goes with the buyers and sellers that we've been talking about too. A disgruntled buyer or a buyer with now buyer's remorse, switch teams, become the seller, cash out on your investment. Why not? So we try to make it as relevant as possible. All right. So speaking of good teammates, one story that we've been following. Better.com. Better CEO. Is it better.com? So this is just a short snippet from an article that's behind such a paywall that I couldn't even read you the summary of the article because it's not really a paywall. It's like hey, join us on Business Insider and you can get all this dirt. But honestly, I'm not joining Business Insider because a lot of their stuff is not the most accurate. So we're covering this because we've covered this and we've been covering the story. But Better CEO Vishal Garg misused at least 1.6 million of their funds to finance his own ventures, says sources who told Business Insider. The investors battling Better CEO Vishal Garg in an ongoing fraud suit said that he used his venture firm 1/0 Capital to misappropriate their funds. In a filing in New York State Court, investors in Phoenix Holdco, a partnership in the Cayman Islands, had new allegations about his misuse of funds. So he's in hot water. But part of me wonders, do you think, I don't really know how corporate politics work, but is that something where you bring the guy back so that he could take the fall and then get out of there so that then the company can operate clean?
Because remember, just a couple weeks ago, he came back after leaving.
After he laid off 900 people and then said that those people worked maybe 2 hours a day.
Fired him via Zoom, by the way.
Via Zoom call.
Hey, thanks for joining the CEO here on today's call. I really appreciate you. Good news, bad news. Good news is you're on with me here on Zoom, which is amazing for you. Bad news is you're all fired. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw salt on that wound because you guys haven't been pushing enough widgets through. You've only been working 2 hours, but if you guys could go ahead and leave today, and if you turn around in your office there, you're going to see a security guard with a box. Just throw your stuff in the box.
Actually, in your home, please give the laptop to the security guard who just showed up to your house.
That's him knocking right there. Hand him the laptop and any pertinent documents. But we appreciate.
So you know what happened? Yeah. Did you see the Daily Beast story? Follow up on all that stuff. So he came back, and the Daily Beast had a story that we didn't cover because it was just talking about how people were leaving in droves. We did cover that part last week, where sources were saying that people were leaving the company in droves. They had a meeting, an internal meeting, and it was in person only. And everyone who showed up to the meeting had to drop their cell phone. And then they have metal detectors, that the wands and stuff, so to make sure that no one had any recording devices on. And so he doesn't trust anyone right now.
Yeah, and he's also misappropriating funds. Well, allegedly. From Business Insider. We got to put the caveat.
So we have that story happening with what's happening with Better. Surprised Matt LaMarche has not chimed in with a pun on that, but we'll keep moving. We also have some news from some other lenders. So Santander to begin laying off mortgage employees.
Okay, I have a question before you get into this.
Yep.
Is that the name of the lender or like the CEO of the company?
Santander, I think, is the Santander's bank.
Okay, because there you go, Santander Bank.
Santander, is it Santander or Santander?
Santander. I mean, we get Santa Ana winds out here. They're happening right now. Santander Bank. Santander.
Okay, so don't you know, Santander Bank employees in the mortgage and home equity business, following the bank's announcement to, quote, stop originating. That was also big news that happened this week, but this is kind of the culmination of that news.
Yeah.
In the United States, Pennsylvania company announced 53 permanent layoffs effective date April 8th, according to a worker adjustment retaining notification, or WARN, sent to the state's Department of Labor Industry.
Yeah.
This appears to be just the beginning. Housing Wire has learned that the bank's exit from the residential mortgage business in the U.S. will result in layoffs for more employees, which a source with knowledge of the decision said would not exceed 5% of the bank's workforce. According to those websites, that has 17,200 employees, 5.2 million customers, and they're exiting the residential mortgage business. Originations are expected to decline 33% year over year, 2.59 trillion in 2022, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. So I think they're looking at forecasts saying, okay, if there's going to be fewer loans, we have all these people right now that are working, we need to lay some off so the profit margins are better. Rocket is expanding its business acquisitions. Home Point has recognized structure to contain loss, and Guaranteed Rate is focusing on profitable channels.
Reorganized. Read that again. Home Point has reorganized its structure to contain costs. So they fired people.
Reorganized its structure to contain cost. Loan Depot is servicing more in-house loans. I don't know. Interesting times in the lending. Is Paul? You're a lender, right? I
am.
What's going on? Oh, wait. Before I actually come to you, let me cover one more article that kind of goes along with this one, and then I want to get your opinion. Like, what exactly is happening in the loan world that's leading us down this path? Because when one or two companies do it, it's not a big deal. But when we see company after company after company doing it, kind of becomes more news. So let me read this section. NewRez lays off 386 following the Caliber acquisition. A company says 3% of the mortgage division's workforce will be reduced to, quote, streamline business channel and create long-term growth.
God dang.
Powerhouse lender servicer New Residential Investment Corp has reduced hundreds of job positions in its mortgage division less than a year after acquiring a multi-channel lender, Caliber Home Loans. In total, NewRez, the publicly traded company mortgage arm, is laying off 386 employees, about 3% of the division's workforce. The spokesperson said, as we continue to create synergies between companies, we're creating a structure to streamline business channels and create long-term growth. And it goes on. This article is also from Housing Wire. So, Paul, lender, chime in. What's happening? What are you seeing in the mortgage industry that's causing a lot of this stuff to happen?
Well, let's look back 2 years ago, right?
Okay.
First of all, at the beginning of 2020, we thought for sure everything was going to tank. Real estate's going to be in the tank. Nobody's going to be able to purchase, yada, yada, whatever. And obviously, with everything that happened, it was just quite the opposite, right? We ended up with more loans than we could ever possibly manage. I mean, everybody and their dog. I literally got my neighbor's dog a loan. Okay, that's a joke. Respa, whoever was out there listening. But everybody was refinancing. Lenders were adding people. They were going into coffee shops and saying, "Hey, you'd be a great loan officer. Come join us." And recruiting is at an all-time high. Things have been going gangbusters. Well, now fast forward a couple of years, the refinance boom is gone. That's over. We're dealing with an inventory, dilemma nationally, and so purchases are primarily what we're focused on, but the number of purchases we have is limited to the number of inventory that we have out there. And now we have a jillion new loan officers out there, and we've got market compression. Margin compression.
Sorry, that was another ad.
Compression. Yeah, well, it was good because if you think about that tune really went on with like
market compression.
I can just see it. I can see a bunch of people jumping up and down in their Richard Simmons outfits
in their empty offices.
Exactly. So this is what's happening. I mean, the bottom line with these big box lenders is they have to keep their profitability where it's going to be. So they're going to lay off everybody they hired to accommodate this giant refi boom that we had 2 years ago. Now, what you see in the market, which is not unlike real estate in general, what you see is people beginning to say, okay, the long-term play on this is more streamlined technology-based lending. We're gonna see crypto lending. We're gonna see all of these different technology changes as we go along the path here, which means that companies are going to have to modify and recalibrate their business plans to accommodate what's coming. And I think what we're going to see is more and more people recruiting the very best lenders. They're going to find the very best lenders. By the way, they'll find them on the Mortgage Mentor Q&A hour in about 10 minutes. But they're going to find the very best lenders across the country, build a team that can produce, and protect their margins. That's what they're going to do. And I think that's what we're seeing. So margin compression, reduction in total volume by just pure nature of the market is what we're seeing. And of course, as interest rates rise, loan officers are going to starve who are not skilled in serving their clients at the best level. And you have to get that the big box lenders are not serving their clients at the biggest level. They're simply just a place to go where people can get a loan in their underpants and make find a deal, and interest rates all they care about, instead of like having somebody who's going to really sit down with them and go through their short and long-term financial plan and goals and try to dovetail a mortgage solution with that specific client. So that's what I see. And hopefully that answers the question, right?
So basically the streamlining of the industry, and also the more sanity that's back in the marketplace after the increase in employees for months and months to handle the influx of the refi business. So those two changes alone are making a lot of people, I guess you could say, get more lean on their workforce because they don't feel like that's going to continue. Is that a good summation of what you're seeing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, that would be my basic assessment. The other assessment I have would be that they're all, all of these companies have required their employees to skydive, and and they're afraid to skydive, so they're quitting or they're being let go because of that. So there you go. Those are my two assessments.
I'm out of here. Well, good. Well, thanks for joining, Paul. We have another guest. That just joined us. Let me see if he can chime in here. Ron Bruno. What's up, buddy? Are you here?
How you guys doing?
Did you hear your intro music? Could you hear that?
No,
I didn't.
Oh man, I don't know why it didn't work. Hang on just a second. I gotta figure out why it didn't work. Well, while I'm figuring this part out, what are you seeing? What is the thing that you're seeing from the mortgage industry? I don't know if you heard everything that we were talking about, but 3 or 4 major companies letting people go. Are you in agreement with Paul? Are you kind of seeing the same thing, that there was a huge increase in the workforce and now you're seeing a decrease? This is not some kind of sign that something else is happening. What are you?
Kind of what I thought.
Oh wow! So we can get into conspiracy theories. First of all,
yeah, please.
Paul is a wealth of information, so definitely listen to him. It's interesting when it comes to general trends. I think. And I've mentioned this on a couple statements, right? Mm-hmm. So the MBA, so it's with an M, the Mortgage Bankers Association, they projected last year that interest rates on the 30-year fix were going to be at 4% by the end of 2022. Well, we're almost there now, right? And there's a lot of reasons why, but primarily it's because of inflation, right? So the Fed, they're going to have to raise the Fed funds rate, and they're also cutting off the spigot of buying up the mortgage-backed securities that has really created all this liquidity. So the big determinant is going to be, what does that inflation number look like month after month after month? So I think the fact that traders, bond traders, they dumped their positions in January, rates shot up half a point, and compared to where we were supposed to be at the end of the year, it sent shockwaves, and everybody's kind of, everybody's shocked, right? So it's uncomfortable. It's not something where everyone was predicting it would be a gradual, peak. Now, if you have people that you were going to refi at 3.5%, and now rates are of that, and all you do is rate and term, then Paul's right. You're going to be gone, right? That it's just the reality of what's happened. But if you're strategic and you have a good pulse on your client and what their portfolio looks like and their particular goals for the year, then you're going to give them the greatest guidance. And I think the key is really to have an opinion. That's the biggest thing. You can't just sit back and try to, fit the narrative to your business where you benefit, right? Because you can't fight the Fed, you can't fight what's happening. I think you have to report the news and then formulate a strategy in how you go about going after the market. So from a lender perspective, I've just been reaching out to my clients, letting them know, hey, this is the deal. If you're, if you were pre-approved at 3.25, well, now we need to stress test it and look at 3.875. On top of that, you also have to see if it's at 0.5, because I don't know if you're going to buy the house in the next 60 days, 90 days, 30 days, or 180 days. So I want to make sure that, that you're prepared. So that's number one. The other is, for, one of my California clients, he has 8 investment properties, and he saw it as a buying opportunity because there's less people in the market. Yeah. So, increase in the monthly payment on the mortgage side, he's okay with that because his net is going to be relatively the same, because he's going to charge higher rent because there's higher wage inflation. So you can justify that. And there's less people that qualify to buy a home, so they're going to have to rent anyways. On top of that, he's also going to be able to lock in to a purchase price where his property taxes aren't going to be at a level that he's not comfortable with, right? Because he's not going to get in these bidding wars that we've had, over the past several years. So it's all dependent upon, how you view the market, having an opinion, and just reporting the reality. And, some people, they like the 2s and the 3s, and they don't want to touch the market, or they don't qualify. And that's the reality of that. But it's the rest that, even with higher interest rates, this is still a great buying opportunity, right? I mean, for agents, I think this is going to be a year for double ending deals like we've never seen. And the reason why is because, well, I mean, if you think about it, so if rates are going up, that means home prices are going to, the rate of appreciation is slowing down, which means that people that were reluctant to put their home on the market because they didn't want to be buyers, they may want to step out and now list that home and then be able to become buyers so that they can, get a good deal and they don't have to overpay and they don't have to get caught in bidding wars because you don't have the rush of 2-3% buyers that are just, scrounging and willing to overpay. So, I see this as a real good opportunity to reach out to all of your clients, just report the facts and formulate a new strategy. Saying, putting your head in the sand and saying that, rates always go up. It's just a reality or just avoiding it. That's not a good strategy. A good strategy is to reach out, report the news, let them know that, that your lenders are looking at the inflation number and, if they can contain it, then great. Then the Fed's doing their job. If it gets out of hand, expect higher rates. And
also higher purchase prices of the homes too. So you might as well buy now while you know everything that's happening.
Well, yeah. And right now there's, extremely low inventory, right? So a lot of people are like, I'm having these conversations and they're like, well, wait, there's no inventory. And I'm still getting caught in bidding wars. Of course you are, because it was all based off of people that were pre-approved back in 2021, where they were already in that mindset of shopping. So it's still early in the cycle, but as soon as the buyers that no longer qualify are out of the market, that the rates are all priced in and the home prices that were listed at those high levels, they're going to have to start, bringing those down and you're going to see it in appraisals. And I'm seeing probably maybe, late spring into summer, you're going to see a little bit more equilibrium in the marketplace because now you have more leverage on the buy side. So, and I would expect that people that are listing a home that want to trade up, it's like that perfect opportunity for them to list the home and then go get what they want and not get caught up in a bidding war and it being a nice transaction where it's not just so much leverage on one side. There's a little bit more balance. So that's what I'm seeing. But again, what could, increase the interest rates could be looking at that inflation number. We went from 6.2 to 7. So who knows what it's going to be? I mean, if it keeps overheating, then we're in the position where the Fed's going to be in the position where not only are they going to turn off the spigot, not only are they going to do Fed funds rates, but then they're going to have to start selling treasuries, and they're going to have to restrict the monetary supply, which could choke any, could basically put us into a recession. Which is just an economic reality. So it's just paying attention to all those factors.
And that's why everyone is laying people off because they're worried about the crash. Did I surmise that right, Ron? No, thanks, man. That's good. That's good information. I mean, that's a ton of info, but to summarize and just to kind of reiterate to our clients and also agents that are visiting with your clients, we don't really know everything that's going to happen in the future, but we feel like rates are going to increase. But we've been saying that for years, right? But it seems like now more than ever, that's going to happen. So what we do know is what's happening now. And if you can find a house now and you want to move, most of our buyers and sellers aren't looking at it from the aspect of strictly an investment. They're looking from the aspect of where am I going to spend, 5 to 13 years of my life? Where am I going to spend 10% of my life? And that is more than, what's my interest rate going to be? And where are these investments? But I also understand that the big mortgage companies kind of trying to look into the future running lean. It's probably good advice for real estate agents now. The leaner you can run now, then the more that you'll be able to make and the more that you can invest. So, but thanks for sharing, Ron. Let me see if I can.
Well, I was going to say, because Ray and I, before the show, we went on the show.
Do you hear that?
That's from Encanto, huh?
Yeah, you heard it. Good. That's going to be your theme song.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to come up with something. I didn't hear that, so I don't know if everyone heard that. But
you couldn't hear it?
Maybe
it only worked through. I wonder if it only worked through Clubhouse. But no, that was the Bruno song.
Yeah,
we don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno.
No.
I think Disney's got it out for me. They have a Ron's Gone Wrong movie, and then now they have the Encanto thing. We don't talk about Bruno. So, I mean, I've got it on both sides. And my wife's name's Karen. So, I mean.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
This is from all angles. This is a tough year for you there. All right. What were you saying, Dan?
No, I was just going to say that, we should bring that dude up. He's going to have some good info on this lender stuff. And I was like, you know what? We don't talk about Bruno.
That's the truth. That's good.
But he should literally come up. You got to come up with something, buyers talk about Bruno or something.
Yeah, you got to work that into your marketing, Ron. You got to figure it out. I have visions of reels in your future.
Yeah, if they're going to have it out for you and your wife, then why not use it?
That's what make money off of it.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, we got to run. But before we do, would you mind telling people where they can find you, my friend?
Yeah, just go to Cash App and put in D Ludwig Rocks, DLUDWIGROCKS. There you go. Boom. Keep hitting it. Yep, keep hitting it.
And you guys, no, go ahead.
But seriously, I'm serious. If you want to buy me a drink, sure, go ahead. But on Instagrams where I do most of my stuff, D Ludwig Rocks, it's right down here. DLUDWIGROCKS. And you could really do us a favor and share it. I mean, the best one would be you can copy the link on Clubhouse now. So when you hop in there, copy the link, send it to people, get more people in, because it helps in the podcast later on. And then also on YouTube, hit share. Anyone you think that would benefit from watching our show, or just the dumb dad jokes we like to throw out, share it to them, let them know. We'd love to get that out there. We appreciate. Ray, where can they find you?
You can find me Ray Zorback everywhere good Razorbacks are sold, specifically Instagram. That's where I am most of the time. So hit me up there. Got a couple of things coming up. I had a good talk this morning with Real Estate Kate. It was about 15 minutes. You want to go check out that live. I've got another one this coming Friday. So there's going to be like a little interview thing that I get to go live with a guy that's a real estate coach. So we're going to be talking there. And then next week, we'll be able to do the show. And then right after the show, I'm rushing to the airport to get on a plane to fly to Spokane. Is it Spokane or Spokane?
Depends on where you're from.
So I'm speaking in Spokane. At a real estate conference there with some pretty fun heavy hitters in the Instagram world. So I'll be speaking there on Thursday. So if you're in the area, hit me up. I'd love to connect with you. But be looking for that stuff. We're going to be dripping more of that out and replays and things like that in the coming months. Producer Matthew, thank you for producing the show. Sorry about the first 3 or 4 articles, but we'll get better.
We'll get there.
So. All right, everybody. We will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye. Love you. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.